ァミリーコンピューターに夢の大冒険ゲームスーパーマリオブラザーズ。
Alright, picture this. You just got yourself a Nintendo Entertainment System, and you got this cartridge with a man jumping out of a pool of lava, shooting fire at bricks. You pop the cartridge in, and you're greeted with a brick floor, bright blue sky, and the game's title, Super Mario Brothers. You press the start button, and you start to hear this catchy tune, a tune that you'll fondly remember and love for the rest of your life. With this wonderful music and the game's level design, it's surely a time that you're gonna remember forever. Fast forward a few years later, and you find the song again online on this website that not a lot of many people might know of by the name of YouTube. And when you play the song again, you'll start to realize that it sounds a bit off. The tempo, the sound, the overall quality. It sounds pretty jumbled up, and nothing like the one you remember as a kid. However, it seems like this very weird and off-putting version of the song is being recognized more than the original. In fact, if you go onto any kind of 8-bit video game playlist that has the Mario theme on it, there's a very good chance that they're going to play this version on it instead of the original. So the question is, how did this version of the song came to be? There's many different versions of the song online, and most of them claim to be the original. But what you may not realize is that the one that is said to be from your childhood may not actually be the one that you remembered. This is the story about how a classic tune was poorly emulated and translated onto the internet. Part 1. Introduction. Let me give you all a little bit of a backstory as to what I'm talking about. A little over a decade ago, sometime in 2008, a video surfaced on YouTube that is said to be the ground theme from Super Mario Brothers. This is the earliest known copy of this weird version of the song, and for simplification purposes, we are going to be calling it the false rip version of the song. There's actually a couple differences between this version of the song and the original. Take for instance, the tempo. It sounds like most of the notes are either playing too far apart or too close, and don't really match up at all. Another difference between the two is the sound of the instruments. Some of you might not tell the difference between the two, but in my personal experience and in my honest opinion, they don't really add up. It just sounds more like a wannabe NES. Now, that alone isn't a problem. No, the real problem is there were so many different versions of the Mario song online to the point where I could actually make an entire video about them. Think about how many times Nintendo has used the Mario song in all of their games and have changed it one way or another. Here's just a couple ones I found online for comparison's sake. So why exactly am I talking about this version of the song? Well, it's mainly because it's gaining a lot more recognition than the original main song itself, to the point where this version of the song is actually being used by big name YouTubers and brands.
Whoa! Apply the game card cover and kickstand pieces by loading up a classic.
Here we go!
Some of you might not even have a problem with this, but I just personally do. And if that wasn't enough, there's another version of the song that's actually lower in pitch compared to the original. And of course, there's somebody out there, for some reason, claiming that this is the one from Mario Maker. And as you may know, that is completely false. So the question is, why did these versions of the song came to be? Why do they even exist in the first place? Part 2. Explanation.
So first, let's take a look at the pitch down version of Mario's theme. I always thought this one was a bit weirder because it didn't really even sound that noticeable to me at first. In fact, it sounded pretty accurate. But I threw it into Sony Vegas, and after listening to the two side by side, I realized that after a little while, the pitch down version got behind the original version, by many beats in the end. And it turns out that this is actually because the pitch down version is just slowed down by about 2%. When I put it at the correct speed and played it with the original, the pitch difference was almost gone completely, surprisingly. But what could have been the cause for this slowdown? At this point, I can't really say for certain, but a possible explanation is that it could just be faulty audio capture from a bad mic. Because to me, even with quality differences, this version of the soundtrack doesn't exactly sound like a direct rip, especially putting it side by side with the original. And we have to keep in mind that this version of the song was uploaded 11 years ago, which definitely could account for worse technology or just really old encoding from YouTube's end. The false rip version, however, is a little more interesting. When I did the same thing to this version, putting the two side by side, I noticed that the false rip was exactly the same pitch as the original, but was playing about 3.6% slower, because of note delays and random jumps and cuts in the song. And actually, this 3.6% doesn't stay consistent in the false rip, because even after altering the speed to where the song started and ended at the same time as the original, there were still points in the song where the false rip was either behind or ahead. Further confusing things, when I corrected the song's speed, it was audibly a little higher pitched, meaning that it was actually playing at the correct pitch all along. So the only thing that's off is the timing and the notes, which you can actually hear, causing things to sound a little offbeat. However, this can be explained by the way the NES outputs audio. Note lengths on the NES are controlled by a length counter, starting at a volume of 15 and decrementing every time the frame counter is clocked. The frame counter ticks about 4 times per frame, and this is where a problem could come into play, because on a laggy 2008 emulator, the frame counter might tick at a less consistent rate, causing some notes to stop and start at incorrect times, making the song progress slower. And to add further issues to the song, if an emulator was used to get this rip of the song, then using an older screen recording software such as Hypercam or any others to record it could have also negatively impacted the tempo. As in early YouTube, these problems were infamous for frame drops and jumpy audio. So a combination of these two would have likely caused the false rip version to turn out the way it did. Yet again, I can't say for sure because I'm not the one who made the rip, but with every possibility in mind, this one made the most sense to me.
Part 3. Conclusion. So now here's the main question. Do any of these versions of the Mario song matter? Do any of them have some kind of importancy to them? No, not at all. Everybody at this point knows how the original Mario song goes. So when they listen to a different or alternate version of the song, they obviously know how the original will go and will be fine with this different version. Sure, some of them are out of tempo or out of tune, some of them are completely false from the original, but it doesn't matter. People still know how the original goes. And let's be fair, there are actual genuine rips of the original Mario song out there for you to listen to. SilvaGunner for an example. But in the end, that doesn't really matter. If they're okay with this version of the song, why should it matter? In fact, why did I even make this video to begin with? It's because these different versions of the song have been going on for over a decade, and some of them sound completely different, as I discussed before. So I wanted to make this video in case if anybody needed some clarification about why these versions of the song even exist. But in the end, that all doesn't matter, since we can all just agree that Super Mario Bros. Has one of, if not the most influential soundtracks in video game history. Whether that's listening to the song on actual hardware or getting a rip from it or this poorly emulated rip, it all doesn't matter since the song is still important to video game history to this very day. So now the other question is, which version of the song is more important to you? Hey everybody, thank you all so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you enjoyed this video. I would like to give a big thank you to Flash for helping me make this video possible. If it wasn't for him, this video wouldn't honestly be as interesting as it is. If you want any more information about the topics I discussed, there will be some links in the description below to all the sources. So with that said, if you did enjoy this video, hit the like button, and if you're new, the subscribe button, and the notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a video. I'm sure you're gonna like some of the other content that I have on this channel. And if so you want to donate to me, you can go over to my Ko-fi page in the description below, though that is completely optional. If you don't want to donate, that's fine. You're still supporting the channel anyway, just by watching my content. And if you have any suggestions about what you want me to talk about next, you can submit them all via Twitter, Discord, or in the comment section below. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!